Listen carefully. The day your life begins to change is the day you stop waiting for the world to choose you. Stop begging for approval. Stop chasing loyalty. Stop shrinking your hunger so weak people can feel safe around you. That is not humility. That is self-betrayal. A man who waits to be chosen has already surrendered his throne. Machiavelli understood what most people are too emotional to accept. Power does not belong to the most deserving. Power belongs to the one who understands himself, controls himself, and makes himself necessary, rare, and difficult to replace. From this moment forward, you become addicted to yourself, not in a childish way, in a disciplined way, in a cold way, in a dangerous way. You choose yourself before the messages, before the opinions, before the people who only remember you when they need something. Your energy is no longer public property. Your attention is no longer cheap. Your presence is no longer guaranteed. Let them call you distant. Let them say you changed. Good. Change is what happens when a man finally stops being available to those who never valued his access. The old version of you wanted to be liked. The new version wants to be respected. Being liked makes you bend. Being respected makes others adjust. If you understand this, comment below, "I am my first empire." Write it like a declaration, because tonight you are done betraying yourself. You are done chasing crumbs. You are done explaining your silence to people who only understood your usefulness. Your life now revolves around one thing: your rise. Your silence becomes heavier. Your standards become sharper. Your words become fewer. You no longer react to disrespect. You remove access. That is power. Welcome to Machiavellian mind. This is where weak attachments die and self-command begins. Number 2. Choose yourself before they use you. Understand this clearly. The world does not reward the man who is always available. It consumes him. It takes his time, his patience, his kindness, his focus, and then calls him selfish the moment he finally says no. This is why you must choose yourself before they use you. Not after, not when you are exhausted, not when your spirit is already drained. Before, because people do not respect what they can access without effort. They do not value what they can interrupt at any hour. They do not fear losing what keeps returning without consequence. Machiavelli knew that human beings reveal their true nature when they believe there is no price for disrespect. Give people unlimited access, and they will confuse your discipline with weakness. Give them endless forgiveness, and they will mistake your patience for permission. This is where the old you must die. You are no longer the man who over-explains his boundaries. You are no longer the man who keeps proving his heart to people with empty hands. You are no longer the man who lowers his standards because loneliness whispers too loudly at night. A dangerous man learns to sit alone without begging for noise. A powerful man learns to let silence test who truly belongs near him. From now on, your life is not built around being needed. It is built around becoming undeniable. You do not chase. You attract. You do not plead. You decide. You do not ask people to value you. You remove yourself until they feel the cost of taking you lightly. That is not cruelty. That is self-respect with teeth. Let them wonder why you stopped answering so fast. Let them question why your energy feels different. Let them feel the absence of the version of you they thought they could keep using. Your comeback begins the moment you stop treating access to you like a public road. Comment this phrase below. My value is not negotiable. Write it with control. Write it like a man who finally understands the game. Because once you choose yourself first, everything changes. You stop moving from fear. You stop loving from desperation. You stop accepting disrespect just to keep a place in someone's life. You become selective. You become focused. You become colder where you were once careless. And that coldness becomes your armor. Number 3, make yourself rare. The reason they became comfortable disrespecting you is simple. You were too available, too quick to answer, too ready to explain, too willing to return after being ignored, dismissed, or treated like an option. And understand this. Human beings do not always destroy what they hate. Sometimes they destroy what they know will stay. That is why a man must learn the power of becoming rare. Scarcity creates weight. Distance creates value. Silence creates curiosity. When your presence is everywhere, your power becomes invisible. When your attention is given too easily, people stop earning it. Machiavelli would tell you that perception rules the battlefield. It is not enough to be valuable. You must be perceived as valuable. You must move like a man whose time has a price, whose focus has a purpose, whose silence has meaning. Stop being the man who appears the moment someone snaps their fingers. Stop being the man who replies with paragraphs to people who gave you disrespect in one sentence. Stop being emotionally predictable. Predictable men are easy to control. They know what hurts you. They know what pulls you back. They know what apology will weaken you. They know what memory will make you open the door again. That ends now. You do not become untouchable by being loud. You become untouchable by becoming unreadable, calm, controlled, selective. A man who cannot be easily accessed, cannot be easily manipulated. From this point forward, your presence becomes a privilege. Your attention becomes earned. Your loyalty becomes conditional on respect, consistency, and value. This is not arrogance. This is order. The world respects boundaries only when those boundaries have consequences. So create consequences. Not through rage, not through threats, through absence, through withdrawal, through the cold discipline of no longer rewarding behavior that insults your worth. Let them feel the empty space where your old self used to stand. Let them wonder what changed. Let them realize too late that the version of you they mishandled no longer exists. Comment this phrase below: "My presence is earned." Write it with conviction, because the man who becomes rare becomes powerful. He stops chasing rooms where he is tolerated and starts building a life where he is impossible to ignore. And once you master your own access, you master the way the world responds to you. Number 4, starve the need for validation. The most dangerous addiction is not pleasure, it is validation. The hunger to be seen, the hunger to be approved, the hunger to have someone else confirm that you matter. That hunger makes men weak. It makes them perform. It makes them explain. It makes them chase people who should have been left behind without a word. Understand this clearly. The moment your worth depends on another person's reaction, they own a piece of you. They can lift you with attention and destroy you with silence. They can reward you with praise and punish you with distance. That is not love. That is control. And a man who wants to become untouchable must break that chain first. Machiavelli would never build power on the opinions of unstable people. He would study them, understand them, use their reactions as information, but never bow to them. That is your lesson. Stop needing applause from people who have not mastered themselves. Stop seeking approval from those who secretly benefit from your insecurity. Stop letting weak minds decide how powerful you feel. From now on, your validation comes from your discipline, from the promises you keep when no one is watching, from the pain you endure without broadcasting it, from the standards you refuse to lower when loneliness tests your spine. This is masculine stoicism, not pretending you feel nothing, but refusing to let emotion make you a servant. You feel it, then you command it. You want to react, but you remain still. You want to prove yourself, but you stay silent. You want to chase, but you turn back to your mission. That is how self-respect is built, brick by brick, refusal by refusal, silence by silence. If they ignore you, let them. If they misunderstand you, let them. If they leave, let them. A king does not run after every citizen who walks out of the gate. He strengthens the kingdom. Comment this phrase below: "I do not beg to be seen." Write it like a man who has finally returned to himself. Because once you stop needing their eyes on you, you become free. You stop decorating your life for spectators. You stop explaining your growth to people committed to misunderstanding it. You stop bleeding for attention. And the moment you no longer need validation, your presence changes. You become calm, heavy, centered, unshakable. The world cannot manipulate a man who has already chosen himself. Number 5, build a life they cannot enter without permission. A weak man lives with open doors. Anyone can enter his mind. Anyone can disturb his peace. Anyone can throw one sentence into his day and control his mood for hours. That is not sensitivity. That is a lack of command. A man who chooses himself first must build a life with walls, gates, and standards. Not because he hates people, but because he finally understands value must be protected. Your mind is territory. Your focus is territory. Your time is territory. and every territory without borders will eventually be invaded. Machiavelli knew that no kingdom survives without defense. The ruler who trusts everyone, explains everything, and gives access without strategy becomes a prisoner inside his own palace. This is why you must stop letting people walk into your emotional world with dirty shoes. Stop telling your plans to people who secretly enjoy your confusion. Stop sharing your pain with those who collect weakness like currency. Stop giving updates to people who have not earned a place near your future. Privacy is power. Mystery is protection. Silence is a weapon when used with discipline. The less they know, the less they can touch. The less they can touch, the less they can control. From now on, your life becomes selective. Your goals move in silence. Your wounds heal in private. Your standards speak before your mouth does. You no longer announce every move. You move, then let results speak like thunder. Let them wonder where you are. Let them wonder what you are building. Let them wonder why they no longer have the same access. You owe no explanation to people who benefited from the weaker version of you. Comment this phrase below. My peace has borders. Write it like a law. Because it is. Your peace is not a public bench. Your mind is not a courtroom where every fool gets to argue. Your energy is not a charity for the emotionally undisciplined. You decide who enters. You decide who stays. You decide who gets removed. This is cold power psychology, not hatred, control, not revenge, protection. When you build a life they cannot enter without permission, you stop being dragged by every opinion, every insult, every absence, every betrayal. You become the gatekeeper of your own world. And once a man controls his gates, he controls his kingdom. Number 6. Let them lose access to you. There is a moment in every man's life when he must stop arguing with people who already proved they do not value him. Not because he is weak, not because he has nothing to say, but because his silence has become more expensive than his explanation. Understand this clearly. Access to you is not a right. It is a privilege, and privileges can be removed. The old you kept doors open for people who kept disrespecting the house. The old you accepted weak apologies, repeated patterns, and soft lies because you were afraid of losing connection. But a man who fears losing people will always lose himself first. That is the trap. Dark psychology teaches you that many people do not respond to love. They respond to limits. They do not respect kindness until kindness disappears. They do not value your presence until your absence becomes permanent. So let them lose access, calmly, cleanly, without a speech, without revenge, without begging them to understand the damage they caused. The most powerful withdrawal is the one that does not announce itself. You simply stop feeding what drains you. You stop answering what insults you. You stop returning to places where your spirit had to shrink to survive. This is not bitterness. This is selection. Machiavelli would tell you that mercy without judgment invites betrayal. Forgiveness without distance invites repetition. Loyalty without standards becomes slavery. So stop being loyal to people who are only loyal to your usefulness. If they only respected you when you were giving, serving, fixing, comforting, and sacrificing, then they never respected you. They respected the benefits of your weakness. Let that version die. Let them meet the man who no longer negotiates his dignity. Comment this phrase below. Access to me is earned. Write it like a final warning, because from now on, your life will no longer be controlled by guilt. Guilt is the leash weak people use when they can no longer control you with affection. They will say you changed. They will say you are cold. They will say you think you are better. Let them talk. Their discomfort is not your command. Their opinion is not your prison. When you remove access, you reclaim energy. When you reclaim energy, you rebuild focus. When you rebuild focus, you become dangerous. And once you become dangerous to your old patterns, you become untouchable to the people who depended on them. Number 7. Turn self-obsession into discipline. Most people hear the word obsession and think of vanity. They think of mirrors, attention, ego, and empty confidence. That is not what this means. To become addicted to yourself is to become addicted to your own growth, your own discipline, your own transformation, your own private war. It means you stop wasting your strongest energy on people who do not strengthen your future. You take that hunger, that anger, that pain, that rejection, and you turn it into structure. Wake up earlier, train harder, speak less, watch more, build in silence. Learn the psychology of people, but master the psychology of yourself first. Because the man who cannot command himself will always be commanded by something weaker than him. A message, a memory, a temptation, a woman, a crowd, an insult, a bad mood. A real man does not let every emotion become a law. He feels the storm, but he does not hand it the throne. This is where masculine stoicism becomes dangerous. You do not suppress weakness. You convert it. You turn loneliness into focus. You turn disrespect into standards. You turn betrayal into wisdom. You turn pain into a schedule. That is how a man becomes frightening without raising his voice. Machiavelli would respect the man who builds himself like a fortress, calculated, patient, disciplined, impossible to enter without strategy. So stop treating self-improvement like motivation. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is political. It is the way you govern your inner kingdom. Every habit is a law. Every choice is a command. Every compromise either strengthens your empire or weakens it. Comment this phrase below. My discipline makes me untouchable. Write it like a contract with yourself. Because the world does not fear your dreams. It fears your consistency. It fears the day you stop talking and start becoming. It fears the man who no longer needs comfort to continue. The man who trains while hurt, works while doubted, stays silent while underestimated, refuses pleasure when pleasure is a trap. This is how you become addicted to yourself, not by worshipping who you are, but by becoming obsessed with who you are becoming. And once that obsession becomes discipline, no distraction, no betrayal, no rejection, and no enemy can pull you back into the life you were born to outgrow. Number 8. Master the art of emotional control. The world studies your reactions more than your words. Remember that. People may pretend they are listening to what you say, but they are really measuring what controls you. They watch what makes you angry, what makes you explain, what makes you jealous, what makes you anxious, what makes you chase. And once they discover the button, they press it whenever they want power over you. This is why emotional control is not peace. It is warfare. Quiet warfare. Internal warfare. The man who cannot control his face will expose his weakness before he speaks. The man who cannot control his tongue will hand his enemies the map to his mind. The man who reacts too quickly teaches people exactly how to move him. That ends now. You do not give instant reactions anymore. You pause, you observe, you let silence stand between the insult and your response. You let people reveal themselves while you remain still. Machiavelli understood that the ruler who reacts from emotion becomes predictable, and predictable men are easy to defeat. So you must become difficult to read. When they provoke you, breathe. When they test you, watch. When they try to pull you into chaos, step back and let them drown in the noise they created. A powerful man does not need to win every argument. He wins by refusing to be dragged into battles beneath his level. This is cold power. Not weakness, not avoidance, control. You are no longer available for emotional ambushes. You are no longer a prisoner of your first impulse. You are no longer the man who bleeds his private storms in public. Comment this phrase below. My calm is my weapon. Write it like a command. Because once you master your emotions, people lose their favorite weapon against you. They can no longer control you with disrespect. They can no longer pull you back with guilt. They can no longer shake you with silence. They can no longer bait you into proving who you are. You simply remain centered, heavy, unmoved, and that stillness becomes intimidating. They will feel that something inside you has changed. They will sense that the old tricks no longer work. That is when you become dangerous, not because you attack, because you cannot be controlled. And a man who cannot be controlled cannot be owned. Number 9. Become the standard. The final transformation begins when you stop asking where you belong and start becoming the standard others must rise to reach. Most people spend their lives trying to fit into rooms that were never built for their growth. They bend their voice. They soften their truth. They lower their fire. They trade their edge for acceptance. That is how power dies. A man who chooses himself does not beg for a seat at weak tables. He builds his own table, strengthens his own name, sharpens his own presence, and lets the world adjust to his level. This is where you become dangerous in a quiet way. You no longer compete for attention. You no longer panic when someone withdraws. You no longer measure your worth by who invites you, who praises you, who replies to you, or who stays close. You become the prize because you finally stop acting like the applicant. Machiavelli would tell you that status is never given to the man who looks hungry for permission. Status gathers around the man who moves with certainty, the man who knows his direction, the man who can stand alone without looking abandoned. So build yourself until your life speaks before you enter the room. Build your body, build your mind, build your income, build your discipline, build your emotional control, build your reputation so strongly that people feel your absence like a consequence. Let them see that losing access to you was not a small thing. Let them realize that while they underestimated you, you were becoming colder, wiser, sharper, and harder to replace.